Welcome to this explainer. Oh man, I am absolutely pumped to have you here today. Look, if you're a focused learner trying to completely demystify the Shopify ecosystem, you are in the exact right place. Today, our goal is to fast-track your development skills using modern AI tools. We're going to take concepts that used to take months to master and compress them down into a matter of days. We're stripping away all the fluff and looking directly at the roadmap for building real, functional e-commerce solutions.
Okay, let's dive into this. And we've got to start with this hilariously accurate quote from veteran developer Will Misbach. He says, Shopify development is truly the IKEA furniture of web development. The IKEA Allen wrench is to furniture assembly what that one piece of code you copied from a forum at 3 a.m. is to your Shopify site. I mean, right? You might not be entirely sure it's the right fit, but hey, it holds the whole shebang together. Now, historically, that learning curve has been, well, incredibly frustrating. But today, we're about to hand you a massive cheat code. We're going to bypass that 3 a.m. confusion entirely by leveraging AI.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the Shopify development ecosystem, move into web fundamentals in Liquid, and then the really fun part, building with AI tools. From there, we'll navigate the Shopify APIs, look at the essential developer toolkit, and finally, show you exactly how to go about landing that very first client.
All right, Section 1, the Shopify development ecosystem. Before we actually start building, we've got to understand the playing field.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that Shopify development isn't just one giant monolithic thing. It's actually divided into 3 distinct technical silos. First up, we've got app development. This is where you're extending the core functionality of Shopify, stuff like generating custom product bundles or tying in third-party software. Next is theme development. This is the visual side, right? You're building the actual browser experience, configuring those hero sections, the navigation bars, the product cards that customers are literally clicking on. And finally, there's headless storefronts. Now, this is a pretty niche, advanced area where you build a completely custom front end hosted outside of Shopify, basically just treating Shopify as the back-end engine.
But hey, no matter which of those 3 paths you eventually take, it all begins in one specific place, a development store. Think of this as your completely free sandbox environment. As a developer, setting this up gives you unlimited test orders, the ability to create up to 10 custom apps per store, and even early access to developer previews of upcoming Shopify features. But the absolute best part? You can experiment, break things, and totally rebuild them without ever risking a live paying client's business. It's completely safe.
Moving right along to Section 2, Web Fundamentals and Liquid, we're going to reframe how you look at learning to code.
Listen, with AI in our corner, we aren't memorizing syntax to write from scratch anymore. Instead, we're learning how to read the code. If you really want to direct AI effectively, you absolutely still need technical fundamentals. It's like a giant puzzle. Think of HTML as the building blocks, your images, buttons, text. CSS is the styling, the colors, the rounded corners, the layout. And JavaScript? That's the interactivity, like what happens when a user swipes through a product slideshow. You don't need to master these to the point of writing thousands of lines from memory, no way. But you must know how to read them and understand how they interact. This basic vocabulary is crucial because at the end of the day, you still have to articulate your vision to the AI and actually review the code it spits out for you.
And right alongside those standard web languages, you've got to understand Shopify Liquid. If you look at this definition, Liquid is basically the template language acting as the bridge between static HTML and dynamic store data. Honestly, just think of it like a game of HTML Mad Libs. You build the static framework, and then Liquid comes in and dynamically fills in the blanks with the specific store's backend data, so it pulls in the correct product title, the current price, or the right product image.
Okay, Section 3, Building with AI Tools. This right here is the true paradigm shift.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. We're in the middle of a massive paradigm shift right now. Traditionally, getting up to speed as a junior Shopify developer took a grueling 6 to 8 weeks of intense, focused effort, stumbling through syntax errors and forum posts. But today, that timeline is compressed to roughly 10 days. It's wild. By leveraging tools like Claude or Cursor, you're shifting from the agonizing task of manually typing out code to simply reading and reviewing it. You can literally prompt entire features into existence using plain, everyday language.
So to actually execute this magic, you've got to follow this specific AI development loop. First, you set up that development store we just talked about. Next, you initialize the Shopify CLI. Now, this CLI basically acts as the vital bridge connecting your local computer straight to your Shopify store. Then you prompt an AI, like Claude Code, which actually lives right inside your project files, to build out your sections. Because it connects via that CLI, you can preview the exact changes on a local dev server in real time. And finally, you commit those changes with Git to safely save your progress. Now, when you're in that prompting phase, you don't need to speak in code at all. In modern workflows, you just use plain language. Like, if a website loads a little too abruptly, you literally just type to the AI, "Hey, I'd like the text and images to have a clean easing animation when they appear." Or, if you want to change the navigation up, you just tell it, "Move the home and contact pages into a hamburger menu." You don't need to instantly know the exact CSS or JavaScript for a hamburger menu. You just need to know how to ask the AI for one, watch it build right there on your local server, and then approve the final result. It's a total game changer.
All right, let's get into Section 4, Navigating the Shopify APIs. This is your technical backbone.
Treat this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. As you start building more complex features beyond just basic themes, you're going to rely on 4 main tools. First, the Ajax API. This one is public and strictly for front-end interactions, like updating the shopping cart without forcing the whole page to reload. Then there's the Admin API, which is your powerhouse for back-end data. It handles all the private info like inventory counts and customer orders. The Storefront API is specifically for those niche headless builds we mentioned earlier, letting you display products on custom front ends without allowing admin-level edits. And finally, webhooks. These act as an event-driven system. Basically, instead of constantly asking Shopify if a new order came in, Shopify just pings you the exact millisecond it happens.
So the crucial point is how you actually go about requesting that sensitive backend data. You'll notice the Admin API relies heavily on GraphQL rather than traditional REST APIs. Why is that? Well, efficiency. See, in a standard REST API, if you ask for a product's title, it might send you the title, the weight, the description, and like 50 other random data points you definitely didn't need. But GraphQL, it retrieves only the exact specific fields you ask for. This totally prevents overfetching and keeps your complex apps incredibly fast and system-friendly.
Moving into Section 5, the Essential Developer Toolkit. Let's look at the practical tools you need to pull this off.
Okay, these right here, these are the non-negotiables. You've got to have VS Code as your primary code editor. You need Node.js acting as the quiet engine running in the background. The Shopify CLI, as we discussed, is what connects your local files to your live store. Now, if you decide to dive into app development, you absolutely must know that React Router 7, which evolved from Remix, is the absolute modern standard recommended by Shopify for building apps. And finally, you absolutely unequivocally must have Git for version control.
Actually, I want to pause on Git for just a second here, because in this new age of AI, Git is more important than ever. Think about it. Because AI can generate, edit, and overwrite code across multiple files in a matter of seconds. Well, it can also break multiple files in a matter of seconds. Git is basically your ultimate liability protection. It gives you continuous backups, which allows you to instantly roll back mistakes to a previous working state. It ensures you never, ever permanently break a live client store. It's a lifesaver.
And finally, Section 6, landing your first client. Let's talk about getting paid.
Look, you just cannot get hired without proof of your abilities. So your very first step is to build portfolio-worthy projects using that development store. And please, don't just build random disconnected buttons. Employers and clients want to see real-world solutions. Use your new AI workflow to build highly polished custom landing pages, mobile responsive blog layouts, or robust dynamic collection templates. Take screenshots, document your process, and present them professionally to show you understand actual e-commerce problems.
When it comes to your first actual paid gig, my advice is pretty simple. Accept any initial job to build momentum. Honestly, it truly doesn't matter if it's a massive store build or just a simple, tiny CSS bug fix. It could be integrating a third-party review app or just setting up a basic theme. Just take it. Nailing that first small gig gets you a real testimonial, it builds your confidence, and it helps you mentally transition from being a student into a paid developer.
Which brings us to our final question for you today. What problem will you solve first? I mean, with tools like Claude Code and the Shopify CLI right there at your fingertips, the barrier to entry has literally never been lower, and your capacity to build absolutely incredible things has never been higher. You've now got the roadmap to read code, direct AI, and safely deploy professional e-commerce solutions. It is time to open up that first development store and start building. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Now go out there and execute.